Ryan Reynolds is now caught talking about staring at a stranger who was feeding their baby.
I just kept on staring and staring and staring, and then I just kind of got locked into that like a time warp.
You won't believe what just surfaced about Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. Imagine this, Ryan Reynolds, the funny, charming guy we all know.
And it sounds so bad given Blake's complaint now. I can't even.
Just made a shocking confession that's got the internet in flames. And what's even crazier, it all ties back to a massive scandal involving his own wife, Blake Lively. This isn't just another celebrity drama, it's a tale of hypocrisy, double standards.
This isn't a funny joke if you find it so sensitive when it happens to your wife. It's not funny, Ryan. This whole thing was nuts. Nothing Blake's accusing Justin of was even that bad.
And Hollywood's secrets that could wreck their carefully crafted image forever. But this is just the beginning. The crazy part. What happens next is even more shocking. Stick around because things are about to get way messier.
The one about, he burst in on me uninvited when I was breastfeeding my child. She says we should run lines together. He's like, anytime. And she's like, come on over. I'm breastfeeding the baby in the trailer, but come on over.
Ryan Reynolds is known for his humor, right? His quick wit, his self-awareness, it's what makes him so relatable. But what if I told you he just admitted to something that not only went against everything he stands for, but also put him in?
Literally, you're despicable and a massive hypocrite.
The spotlight for all the wrong reasons. In an unexpected twist, Ryan shared an experience that left viewers in disbelief. He admitted to staring at a stranger in a hotel lobby. No, it's not a one-off thing. He wasn't just glancing in her direction. He locked eyes with a woman breastfeeding her baby. And he didn't just do it for a second, he kept staring and staring until he got caught in a time warp, as he called it.
She invited him in, and a lot of women are comfortable having someone around when they breastfeed, so it's not so weird, especially out in Hollywood, for him to assume, yeah, I guess she's fine with this because she did let him in. Ryan Reynolds comes off terribly.
Ryan explained that he didn't know how to act, so he just stared. Yeah, you read that right.
Me staring, and I didn't know what the appropriate facial expression was for that, so I just kept on staring and staring and staring, and then I just kind of got locked into that like a time warp. And
staring at a woman, feeding her child, completely oblivious to how uncomfortable and invasive it might make her feel. But that's not the craziest part. Stay tuned, this story takes an even wilder turn.
That video is a response to a question a fan had asked Ryan Reynolds, asking, if you had a time machine, which historical event would you like to go back in time to witness?
Now Ryan Reynolds can go do this as the time event he wants to go back and revisit when he stared at a stranger doing the same thing.
He wants to sue. Yeah, she says that's sexual harassment. Pick one. Would you like this woman to come back in time and sue you now? Or is your wife being ridiculous? Tell us which one is facts.
Now, let's talk about Blake Lively. She's been fighting her own battle, claiming to be a champion for women's rights, speaking out against sexual harassment. But there's something fishy about the whole situation. Blake has been on a crusade against Justin Baldoni, accusing him of sexually harassing her while on set. The most shocking claim, that he walked into her trailer and invited while she was breastfeeding.
But Ryan Reynolds, one of the things he allegedly exploded on Justin Baldoni over was alleged fat shaming of Blake, because I guess when she was shooting this movie, she was postpartum.
Let that sink in for a second. She framed this as an incredibly humiliating moment, one that made her feel unsafe and violated. And that's when Ryan stepped in, furious and ready to defend his wife's honor, publicly and privately. He slammed Justin for disrespecting Blake's privacy. A hero, right? But here's the kicker. The situation just doesn't add up. Ryan's furious stance against Baldoni, calling out his actions as completely unacceptable, seems a little hypocritical, considering what happened next. This is where things get crazy. Stay tuned, because what happened next completely flipped the script.
Blake Lively mad at James Heath for looking at her and staring at her in the eyes, directly at her while she was blank.
You can probably guess what happens next. Remember that staring incident Ryan casually mentioned on national TV? That wasn't just a one-off. Ryan did the exact same thing that he accused Justin Baldoni of, except he was the one staring at a woman breastfeeding in a hotel lobby. He admitted it, out loud, publicly, on national television. Ryan Reynolds, the man who's so quick to call out others for sexual harassment.
Getting ready to feed her baby. All this is the complaint that was made, which she later says, oh, I don't think you were trying to cop a look, but whatever. This whole complaint about he was there uncomfortably while she was pumping, it's insane.
Casually laughed off the fact that he did the exact same thing. But here's where it gets insane. He made a joke about it. He laughed it off, acting like it was no big deal. Now, just imagine for a second if this had happened to someone else. Would Ryan be laughing? Or would he be calling for accountability, just like he did with Justin Baldoni? But wait, it gets worse.
It's insane, but now Ryan Reynolds can go do this as the Time event he wants to go back and revisit when he stared at a stranger doing the same thing?
This isn't the end. Keep reading because it gets even more ridiculous.
Assistant, while Lively is having body makeup removed, she was not topless as she claimed in her complaint. She was either nursing or pumping while fully clothed. Lively asked Heath to face the wall while they determined a time to meet with the other producers who were standing just outside the door.
You know how much Ryan loves promoting his aviation gin, right? For years, he's been pushing it hard, using his status to make it a top-tier brand, but in a move that shocked everyone. Aviation Gin was replaced in a movie where Blake Lively starred, and it's not just a coincidence. This was a deliberate move. The gin brand that took its place, Paul Fig's Gin, the very same Paul Fig who has no ties to Ryan Reynolds. This wasn't a casual brand switch, it was Hollywood making a statement. They were distancing themselves from Ryan and Blake.
I would like to get that woman some fucking compensation. It's okay when you do it. It's a problem when other people do it. Interesting. You just stood there and stared because you didn't know what to do. You're a grown man. You're a married man. You're a father. You've seen a woman breastfeeding before. Why were you staring at this woman?
If you think that's bad, just wait. The backlash is growing, and it's only going to get worse for them. But there's more. Stay tuned, because what happens next is going to completely change the way you see this whole situation. Behind the scenes, things are even darker. Ryan Reynolds wasn't just trying to control how people saw Blake, he was actively managing her career, from film schedules to PR strategies. He allegedly did everything in his power to keep Blake's work revolving around him. When Blake landed a lead role in a major film, Ryan panicked. He didn't want her working without him, so he pressured the film's producer to change the entire production schedule to accommodate his needs. And it doesn't stop there. Ryan even went so far as to offer to get a tattoo in one of the most intimate areas of his body if that's what it took to get Blake's schedule changed. This wasn't a joke, it was desperation.
This isn't a funny joke if you find it so sensitive when it happens to your wife. It's not funny, Ryan.
He was terrified of losing control over his wife's career. If you think this is insane, just wait. What happened next completely shattered their already fragile image. Keep reading, because this is the turning point.
Here your wife is saying she asked somebody to look at the wall because she was pumping or nursing or whatever.
Blake's behavior doesn't help the situation either. She's been so vocal about her harassment claims, demanding justice and accountability for what she went through. But here's the thing. She's doing the exact same thing as Ryan. Think about it. Her accusations against Justin Baldoni were based on a simple thing: eye contact. Yes, she called it harassment.
But she wants to sue. Yeah, she says that's sexual harassment.
She said that he looked at her while she was pumping milk, and somehow that was enough to accuse him of being a predator. Now, before you start thinking that maybe it was just a misunderstanding, Blake herself admitted in her lawsuit that she didn't believe Justin was intentionally trying to harass her. She simply felt uncomfortable, and that was enough to label him as a perpetrator. But here's where the double standard comes in. Her husband, Ryan, did the same exact thing, staring at a woman breastfeeding, yet he never faced any consequences. Blake Lively, the self-proclaimed victim advocate, is caught up in her own hypocrisy, and the internet is catching on. And that's not even the most shocking part. Stick around because we're about to dive into something even darker now.
Ryan Reynolds comes off terribly. He had them over to their penthouse in New York, and Taylor Swift was believed to be there, according to this latest complaint.
Let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Hollywood's reaction. For years, Blake and Ryan have been the golden couple. Their fame and influence in the industry were untouchable.
Blake personally, with Ryan's help, rewrote scenes, again, not within the purview of an actress. And then after that, they have text messages in which Blake tells Justin, this is in the latest lawsuit, you know, I know you've never watched Game of Thrones, but when you get around to watching it, you'll realize I'm Khaleesi.
They had the public wrapped around their fingers, but not anymore. The cracks in their carefully curated image are starting to show, and the fallout is real. Celebrities who once stood by them are now backing away, including none other than Taylor Swift.
Justin Baldoni before this whole thing. I mean, who the hell is he? I guess he's in some small thing I never saw, but she's saying, F with me and we'll crush you. My dragons and I, the biggest movie star, one of them in the planet, the biggest pop star in the planet, and I will hurt you unless I get my way. So
yes, the same Taylor Swift who once adored Blake and publicly supported her. But now, she wants nothing to do with this scandal. In fact, reports surfaced that Blake had allegedly been using Taylor's name behind the scenes to pressure industry figures. And when Taylor found out, she was reportedly furious. She felt completely blindsided by the entire situation. And the worst part, she's not the only one distancing herself. Other Hollywood figures are silently pulling away, including co-stars who are refusing to back Blake in her lawsuit. But you won't believe who else is distancing themselves. Keep reading, because we're just getting started.
And now he's going full Johnny Depp on her to show that she was the bully. She was the one harassing him. And this guy who had, comparatively very little power was forced now to come out and tell the truth about Blake Lively.
Here's where Ryan and Blake's plan hits its most shocking point. They tried to manipulate the media to rewrite their entire public narrative. When Blake received bad press for her role in the film It Ends With Us, Ryan didn't sit back. He didn't let Blake face the heat alone. Instead, he allegedly took over her PR strategy, demanding that the entire production team take the fall for the negative press. And it didn't stop there. They went further, even drafting a public statement together and trying to pressure Justin Baldoni's team to sign off on it.
Blake Lively and getting hired again because all of her diva antics are coming out and the way she behaves behind the scenes. And now this with the lawsuit and the New York Times thing, because she's now filed against him as well. So it's a terrible move by her and them PR-wise.
This was a full-blown power move, one designed to absolve Blake of any responsibility while blaming everyone else. But you know what? The media didn't fall for it.
Well, now they've produced the text messages, Baldoni and team, in this latest lawsuit against her, showing Justin being like, don't worry about any of that. We can shoot any scenes that require, exposure toward the end of the movie when, you feel better about things. This is the last thing you should have to worry about.
And as the walls close in.
Look who's here at the Oscars last night, Deadpool!
Who's not even nominated? Dancing Deadpool!
Don't even clap. Don't even clap. Don't even clap when Dancing Deadpool.
The cracks are widening. As the public begins to connect the dots, it's clear that Ryan and Blake's perfect Hollywood image is falling apart.
And interestingly enough, they did clap when a sandworm playing the piano came in. Playing chopsticks, because that was kind of funny. Why was there a Dancing Deadpool? Look, I liked Conan last night. That was probably the worst joke of the night.
You're very supportive over your female co-stars as well. Blake Lively, how are you hoping to support her during this time?
I mean, I just, it's a tough situation, and
No, it's not. Bro, you look awful. You're not getting favors from either side at this point, I imagine. You're only digging yourself a hole.
From Hollywood distancing itself to the backlash against their manipulation tactics, things are getting worse.
That the moral crimes committed here by Ryan Reynolds against Justin Baldoni have amounted to high treason. After having read through the amended lawsuit, Ryan absolutely must go home, and I have got some major scoop.
Yes, Liz Plank, who was Justin Baldoni's co-host on their podcast, Man Enough. The same Liz Plank that jumped ship just a few days after Blake Lively filed her legal complaint against Justin Baldoni. Not only did Liz Plank post this photo in 2019 thanking Ryan freaking Reynolds,
the very people who once adored them are now turning their backs. And their influence is slipping away faster than anyone could have.
Yeah, this time there won't be aviation gin. It'll be his gin. Paul Feig has his own gin. And good for him. He gets to tell Blake no and get his in instead.
Imagine. So what happens next? Will they be able to salvage their careers? Or is their downfall inevitable? Stay tuned, because we're going to keep watching. But don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want more updates on this scandal as it unfolds.
I don't think you were trying to cop a look, but whatever. This whole complaint about he was there uncomfortably while she was pumping, it's insane.
He literally tells Ryan he wants to be friends with you. And I can just see Ryan sitting there like, yes, this is exactly what I want, a puppy to kick in the mouth. And you'll do what I say. So I'm going to show you these exchanges. This is Ryan Reynolds, Justin Baldoni. If you guys have not read through them, I recommend that you go on to the site to...
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more awesome content.